everybody, Tommy Nettie, the Skid Guys here. Wanted to give you a warning, kind of like a red flare, if you will. Church is about to start in 3 minutes.
Hey, I found that verse I was telling you about that I think would be perfect for this morning.
Nay. Right now, I am doing the service countdown, trying to get everybody ready for church.
Oh, sorry everybody. Hang on just a second. No, I really would like to read this passage.
You hang on. I'm trying to equip them and empower them to be ready for church. All right. Hey, with that, it's time to finish up the coffee and go ahead and let's guzzle down some of those donuts. All right. Coffee, donuts. I got a donut. Don't mind if I do. All right. And go ahead and finish up conversations. Okay. Any type of conversation that you have needs to get done. All right.
Nobody understands what you're saying.
There you go.
No,
there you go.
No, they
there
don't.
You go.
It makes
also,
no sense.
Breath mints. If you got a breath mint, take it now so you can talk to people. Maybe they're visitors. You don't know, right?
What?
Breath mint. Breath mint.
No, I don't know what you said, but here, you need one of these. Now, back to this, okay?
Before that, this. All the Generation X, Y, and Zers, get out those Bible apps.
Oh, or just do what the greatest generation did and actually bring a Bible to church. Just saying. Which brings me back to the Bible. The passage I wanted
For
to
that,
read was-
I thought, though, we could do a little trivia. While we're all just sitting here wasting some time, I did some trivia on my little iPad here.
Okay.
Let's see what we can do.
Okay,
here.
okay. I do love trivia.
Okay,
go.
all right.
Okay,
See
go.
if you know the answer to this question. Here we go.
Wait, that's your question?
That's my question.
That is a Bush League question.
What? No, it's
That
a
is
good...
pathetic.
What?
Oh, here, look, trade me. Okay, if you want a real good question, try this one on.
Did you just make that up on the spot?
The answer is hunting license. Hunting license.
The answer to my question was 26. There are 26 letters in the German alphabet.
And nobody cares because that's a pathetic trivia question.
It's a great
Here's another
one.
one. Try this one.
That's not even a question.
I know, but can you imagine when the pastor walks in and everybody's trying to lick their elbows?
No.
Finish your coffee. Finish your coffee. Here. Okay, now it's time for what I like to call Bible trivia. Answer that question, friends.
Hey, friend. You said you had some scripture, and before time runs out, this may be a really good time for you to share the scripture that you had. Before time runs out, did you want to share some of your scripture?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Because we don't want time to run out, do we?
Nope.
No.
Where was that?
Because, there's only so many seconds left.
Did you stop talking? Okay?
Right, I'm just trying
You're distracting me.
I thought you'd have it memorized by now.
Quit talking, okay? I'm trying to find it. I forgot where it was, and I'm going to find it.
Okay.
Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
It was in...
Find it. Let's see what you
found
got.
it. Got it, okay.
Time's up.
No!
Hi guys, so it's the final day of cyber school and we are looking at last year's theme, the word courageous. And last year we were really basing our thoughts around Joshua 1 verse 9. It says this: I have commanded you to be determined and confident. Don't be afraid or discouraged, For I, the Lord your God, am with you wherever you go. I wonder if a year on from summer school last year, you would describe yourself as determined, confident, and courageous. I expect the answer could be no. I don't think many of us view ourselves that way. We might often look at other people and think, oh, that person over there, they're so confident, they're so courageous. But I have a sneaky feeling that if we ask them if they feel confident, if they feel courageous, they might say no. I want to introduce you to somebody now that, in my opinion, is really courageous. And I'm going to tell you a little bit later about somebody else that I think has a lot of courage. Let's go meet them. So everybody, this is my mum. What's your name?
Leslie.
How old are you?
Not telling.
Where are you from?
I'm from Wiltshire.
From Wiltshire. And who's your favourite child?
I'm not telling.
She's got 3, but I'm the firstborn, so evidently favourite. Mum, I would like to know if you would consider yourself a courageous person.
Me courageous?
Yeah.
No, definitely not, Ashley. If you could see me walking through fields of cows during this lockdown, no. Or walking in bear country, no. Swimming in shark-infested seas, no. But other than that, yes.
There are quite a few cows in Wiltshire where I'm currently staying with my parents right now, and it is a bit unnerving to walk through those fields, isn't it?
is.
I also have one particular memory of going to Disneyland with my parents and my brothers when I was little, and me and my brothers were way too scared to go on any roller coasters, but my dad had convinced my mum to go on the Indiana Jones roller coaster, and there was an amazing point where my brothers and I were sat watching, and we could see the very moment when my mum didn't know beforehand but made a realisation that this roller coaster was going to go backwards.
I remember.
How did it feel?
Dreadful. I wanted to die.
Yeah. Would you ever go on it again?
No.
So perhaps not somebody who would describe themselves immediately as super confident, courageous and determined. But I want to ask you about something in particular, about your work with young people in our local church. It's called All Saints Lydia and Millicent. Tell me how you ended up kind of moving from beyond just sort of Sunday school and Sunday morning church stuff with young people into discipleship and something more.
Well, I think it started when we were rejiggling our home groups in church, and one of my young people said to me, Leslie, why can't the young people have a home group?
Good.
And it had been on my mind for a while, so that's how we started up. Another lady, Beverly, and myself, we decided we would start up a home group. We called it Youth Group for young people.
Awesome. And how long did you do that for?
In total about 6-7 years, I think.
Awesome. I love it. It was great. She did a fantastic job. And I want to know if you felt particularly confident and courageous going into this new thing for the church and for yourself.
I didn't feel courageous at all, no. I felt that because it had been on my mind for a while that God was calling me to do this work. So yeah, it was a bit unnerving to begin with, but I'd worked with these young people on a Sunday morning, so what could be so difficult to meet them in a youth group situation, but not courageous, no.
And did you feel equipped as a youth worker? Did you feel like the youth worker type?
I definitely never saw myself as a youth worker, but the problem being in our church we don't have youth workers, so I saw that if Beverly and I didn't do this with the young people, there would be no one else stepping forward to do it. And I felt passionately that they should have something, they should have the same as the adults had in the church. And if we were discipling adults, we should be discipling young people too.
Amen. I love that, and I'm sure you guys would all agree. So like I said earlier, my mum said she did this for maybe 6 or 7 years before she stepped down, and she saw this whole group of young people through probably all of secondary school. They're quite grown up now, aren't they?
Yes.
They're sort of all 18, and some of them have moved on and left and gone to uni, or
Yes.
they're finishing up their A-levels like a lot of you guys are right now. What I want to tell you about next is a particular moment that my mum and I had on our way back from a walk through a park that would have had some cows. So there was some courage needed there. And on our way back from a walk, we bumped into one of my mum's friends called Rita at the top of one of the roads near our house. I'm going to take you there and we're going to tell you what happened. Let's go. It was about here, on this very spot, when I was walking back with my mum from the park through the cow field, that we bumped into Rita. Let me tell you a bit about Rita before I tell you about this very moment. So a few years ago, my mum was in a particular sort of away day with the church, and she really felt stirred about the fact that hardly anybody turns up to the prayer meetings. So she stood up and she gave the church a good, what for, saying you should all be coming to the prayer meetings on a Monday morning. And we'd love to see more people praying for this community and for this church. She did that at this moment. My mum didn't have any idea who Rita was. She'd never met her, and she wasn't there that day, and she'd never been to the church. But at the next prayer meeting that my mum went to, with just the few of them that were sat around that regularly turned up to pray, she saw that somebody walked into the building, and it was this lady called Rita. Rita is from China. She had been following Jesus for a while, but felt that she'd really kind of stopped, and she felt that she wanted to start again, and she'd walked in wanting to come to this particular prayer meeting. My mum was blown away, and Rita is just so full of life and passion and energy, and most of all, she's really full of humility. Now, I told you that my mum had stopped leading the youth group at this church a little while ago, but she never stopped praying for the young people, that someone would come and take over, kind of loving and caring and discipling these young people in this church. And by now, like I said, many of them are now 18 and plus, but some of them are still around. And when I bumped into Rita, she was excited to tell me a particular story. She said that when a couple of the young people had moved away for various reasons, she was particularly aware of one young lad who was around 18 that knew he was going to perhaps be a bit on his own. He wasn't going to have the same community of accountability and discipleship that he'd had with his friends. And she felt called to invite him round, but she didn't know how to go about doing this. What was she meant to do? Kind of a little bit older lady from China with no perhaps youth work experience, inviting an 18-year-old lad that she didn't know, hadn't really spoken to, round to her house. So she wrote him an email. I think it went a little bit like this: "Hi, my name's Rita. I'd love you to come over on whatever day in the evening. This is my address. Hope to see you there." She did think afterwards, this person's going to think I'm very odd, but to her surprise, he turned up at her doorstep. He walked in, and I think she had this immediate feeling of kind of, how are we going to connect these two people from such different places? But he walked in and he saw a particular table she had that was quite ornate and beautiful, and he just loved it. This young sort of 18-year-old lad loved this table because turns out he's really into carpentry and wood. And then this connection began, and they started meeting regularly, sharing food, sharing life, having a laugh and chatting Jesus. As a couple of people came back during lockdown from where they'd been, perhaps further away, they also started meeting. I think Rita now meets with 3 young people around her table for food at various times, chatting Jesus, sharing life, and just being humble about her experience. What an incredible story of courage and obedience. But like my mum, I don't think Rita would say she is the model youth worker. She's the person you think of straight away. But she was willing to be obedient to God and courageous enough to listen to what he's saying and to follow through, even if it didn't make sense. We're going to head back home, and we're going to have a little look at the person of Joshua and how he lived a courageous life. Let's go. So let's talk about Joshua. So Joshua is a guy that we probably think of as being super courageous, super confident and totally determined. I mean, you have to have guts, don't you, to walk around the outside of Jericho 7 times, commanding the walls to literally fall down. You might think this is somebody who's nothing like me, but I want to delve into 3 very short stories to do with Joshua. The first one is found in Exodus chapter 17, and Joshua is fighting the Amalek army, so Amalek and his people, and it's a big battle, and it's really like a tough one. I don't know if they're going to win. It's not going to be an obvious win for Joshua. It's going to be a close call, and his military might have been seen as what won this battle. But little did perhaps he know, and perhaps we focus on, that just up the cliff, up the mountain, nearby, Moses was there with two of his mates, holding his arms in the air and praying for this battle. And what happened was every time he rose his arms up, the battle went well and Joshua was winning. And every time his arms dropped, they would start to lose. So actually, yes, Joshua was confident. Yes, he was courageous. But what really gave him that courage, what gave him the victory in that situation, wasn't his power, wasn't his strength and his skill, but it was his mentor, his friend Moses, praying on the sidelines. Perhaps courage is more about prayer and God's power than it is about our own might and confidence and abilities. And then in Numbers chapter 13, you probably will have heard this story, Moses sends 12 spies into the promised land to see if it's ready to be conquered by him, so they can claim it to live in just as God has promised. And Joshua and Caleb are two of these 12 spies that are sent into the land. And they go in, and everybody else, all the other 10 spies come out saying, no way can we win this battle. They're giants in there. These warriors are super warriors, and their walls are so strong, you'll never win this battle. But Joshua and Caleb come out and they say, come on, let's go, let's get on with it. If God's promised us the land, then surely we can take it. In this moment, you might think Joshua is just being super courageous, but perhaps it's more about the fact that he trusts God, that he trusts in the promises that God makes him, and he's willing to have faith in those promises and follow through. And then in Joshua chapter 7, this is perhaps one of the only occasions that we see Joshua nearly lose. And it's in a battle against Ai, that's spelled A-I, a very short word. And Joshua is in this battle with his people, and some of the people decide that they're going to start going their own way. They don't want to do it God's way. They don't want to win by his plans. They want to do it themselves. But when they start doing it themselves, they start losing. And it's only at the very end, after God has been very gracious to them, and he shows them they need to follow his way in order to win the battle, that they see a victory. So here, again, we might think that just Joshua is this incredible, courageous guy, but actually perhaps it's his willingness to lead people in obedience and to be obedient himself, knowing that God's way is always better than his way. My mum and Rita are courageous people, but they're not courageous because they're the loudest people in the room. They're not courageous because they're always super confident. They're courageous because they're people that pray. They trust that when they pray, it's God's power that will win the day. They're courageous because they're people who trust that if God has called them to do something, however strange it might seem, however it might seem outside of their comfort zone and their skills, they're willing to have faith that God will answer the promises that he has given. And they are courageous because they are obedient. They go forwards and do what God has asked, even if it's sending a strange email to a young lad that they barely know. I'm sure they're not obedient all the time. I'm sure they're not continuously courageous. I know there are missed opportunities and times where they have to also ask for forgiveness. But this is what it means to be courageous in my eyes today, guys. This is how Joshua was courageous, by being a person of prayer, trusting in God's power, being somebody who trusts when God promises, and being someone who is obedient to follow through and act on the promises that God gives us. So I hope that's been helpful. I hope that if you're somebody who would never describe yourself as courageous, perhaps being a person of prayer, trust, faith and obedience might seem more manageable, more like you than courageous, confident and determined. Thanks, guys.
Hi guys, so today is the last day of our cyber school, which is really sad, but we really hope that you've gotten a lot out of this week, even though we've not been able to meet together as much as we normally would. Tonight is our last Zoom prayer room online. It would be really great if you want to join us tonight. Again, we're going to have the opportunity to pray together, and maybe you want to share something with us on Zoom of what God's maybe spoken to you about this week. You might want to share with us something that you want prayer for. If that's the case, just let us know. We'll give you that opportunity. And again, you'll have the chance to chat and pray with those your age. So yeah, hope you've had an amazing week. And it'd be really great to see some of you tonight. If you can't make it, please be assured that we are praying for you. We are praying for you going forwards. And if you didn't receive a prayer card on Wednesday, you will get yours in the post, and know that we have prayed for you as we've chosen that verse for you. And we really hope that you feel encouraged and that you feel like in a difficult time, God is a God of hope, and he can be with you, and he will be with you, and he is with you. So yeah, take care wherever you are, and if there is anything that we can be doing to pray for you, please just message John and let us know. Bye!
We're now going to listen to a song by the wonderful Becky Higg. It's a beautiful song called So Much More. If you were at summer school last year, you would have heard it, and it's great to be able to look back and share this song again. Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in today. And thank you to Ashley, who shared a wonderful message with us about being courageous. And the interview with your mum was particularly great. So thanks very much for everything that you've done today. Again, as always, I invite you to join us again at 2 o'clock as we share in our Bible studies. We have our online worship stuff happening at 7 o'clock. And then we will have our online prayer room to round off what's been a great week. So thanks for joining, guys. I hope you've had as much fun doing all this as I have and got something out of it. And I look forward to seeing you later.